So the question is that you have a daughter who you're doing TP with, and she has a boyfriend. And the boyfriend is bad news. He doesn't have a good character, and he abuses her, and he mistreats her. And now, because she's a part of your life, because you're doing TP, Baruch Hashem, so she's home much more, and she's living at home. She comes up for meals, etc., etc. And then the question is, now that she's home, so you see it much more, and her siblings see that she's being abused by this guy. She would be much better off if the guy would dump her and let her go and move on. She'd be much better off. That's the question. And the answer is, like everything else, it's deep stuff. We're dealing with neshamas over here. Nothing is simple, okay? Basically, the answer is like this. You said also something else that's going to help me in the answer. It's like almost she lets herself be abused. Okay. Our KiPs, kids in pain, who are trauma victims and who have symptoms of PTSD that show that they went through abuse and trauma, they're tzibrachim, allow themselves to be abused. More than that, they almost prefer and feel more comfortable in an abusive relationship than in a regular relationship. And therefore, they put themselves in danger consistently. And then there's that KiP mazel, that somehow they end up with a job, and the guy says, don't worry, you're not going to be the only one here. It's a busy office. And the girl comes, and all of a sudden, it's just her and this schlub, stupid boss guy. Or they get finally a job that they like, and the boss is so mean. Or they finally work for a company, and the company ends up not paying them and going bankrupt. There's that KiP mazel that attracts the broken ones, which we see all the time in our group. That's the mile of having so many hundreds of people on a group. Is we're a think tank, and we're a proof tank. We're a Nesaya and Mechiach tank of people. We see what's going on out there. So what happens is broken people allow themselves to be abused because they have a low self-esteem. And it happens consistently. I was on the phone today with another pair of parents, same thing as you. The girl is in a relationship that if you have a drop of self-esteem, she'll tell the guy, we're done, thanks, lose my number. She has this guy, he ignores her. And she says, why don't you call me? Why don't you call me? Okay, I'll call you for a minute when I leave work at night. He calls her for a minute, says, I'm too busy, and he goes to sleep. For this, you have to have a boyfriend. You might as well be frum and behave yourself. This is why you're going off the derech to have a boyfriend, to have a guy ignore you, and she's crying, and this is going on for months, and all of her friends and anybody, her sisters, just say goodbye. She's a beautiful girl. She can get any guy. She has this ugly guy, pimply, ugly with a stutter. We had this one of the first TPs 10 years ago. The father told me, I mean, from Hasidic father, he said, and what gets me even worse, you have a boyfriend, Mila. But this guy is like, she's a prince. She's 5'9". He's 5'2". He stutters, pimples, he's poor. She's paying for him. It's like a princess. And this is who you go with? So the first thing you need to understand is that whoever she associates herself with, these friends and the boyfriend and the girlfriend, that's how they see themselves. When they look in the mirror, they see a broken person. They see a worthless person. If I'm worthless because I'm damaged from trauma and abuse and I feel worthless, that's what it does. The abuse makes them, on top of destroying their lives, and they can't sleep, etc., it makes them feel worthless. I'm worthless. If I'm worthless, I can't afford to push anybody away. It's like, what do I deserve? I don't deserve any better. So I need every relationship, anybody that will look at me. I can't afford to say next because I'm worthless. And we see on the outside, it's like anorexia, The girl could be size 2 and she sees in the mirror a size 10. She could be tiny, skinny. I'm fat. I have to lose weight. And you say, fat? Where? Where's the fat? Because that's the sickness. The same thing with low self-esteem is that they feel undeserving. And you're looking, you say, she's beautiful. She's a bas melech. She comes from a beautiful family. She has sisters. She has brothers. She has so much to offer. It's true, she's in pain. But she has and this guy, a gurnished, a nobody, a nothing. That's who you're friendly with? Because that's who she associates herself with, number one. And number two, even if not, she can't pull away. So they're watching her get abused, and they're saying if he would drop her, she would be so much better. The two parts of that is, number one, she cannot drop him. She's not droppable. she can't drop somebody because she has no self-esteem. And number two, it's not true, because the next guy that she would take in this matziv would be worse. Why? Because the fact that she's staying with him shows us that her self-esteem is tiny. Therefore, what do you think is going to happen the next guy? She's going to pick also an abuser, because she's going to attract an abuser, and she has no self-esteem. What are the chances that she's going to meet the fantastic guy, punkt or pinked, whichever community you're from? What is the chances? No, she's going to meet another guy, the first guy she sees, and he's going to smile with one tooth. Okay, I'm your girlfriend. So the fact that the child behaves in a way that shows us their Zerbrochenkeit, and this goes for all the situations, tells us that we don't change the matziv, it's not going to help. This job, such a terrible job, the boss abuses him, he should get another job. It's not going to help. Until he is a somebody that will be enough of a person, of a human being, that he will not allow himself to be abused. And you see this. See this? There's a lot of different examples that I can bring to show people that some of them are married 30 years, 40 years, and you know that this person must have been abused as a child and have a low self-esteem or put down by their parents, because it makes no sense. This shidduch makes no sense. You see it, and they're stuck. They're stuck because they don't see their value. And sometimes it's so obvious that it's like, come on, there's like no shaykh, and they'll stay and they'll stick with it because I am nobody. I don't have a self-esteem. I'm not worthy of better. I'm not worthy of happiness. Who else is going to want me? I'm not marketable. So I can't be choosy. I'm happy to have somebody. So first of all, if he would go ahead and get hit by a bus, chas v'shalom, he would disappear. She would go through depression, and she would go through terrible times, and she'd go through horrible stuff, and she's not going to be better off without him. And the next guy could be much worse, than this guy. Why? Because she's broken, she's sick. How will you know when she's not sick? When you rebuild the self-esteem and she says, I don't want you anymore. Oh, that means she's ready to move from 1 out of 100. She's picking level 10. She's ready to go level 20. When she has the self-esteem to say, I'm better than him. I don't deserve this. I don't want to be his girlfriend anymore. I don't like the way he treats me. When she'll call him on it, don't talk to me that way. You cannot talk to me that way. And she'll hold her ground. That's health. Then she can go out, get rid of him, and find a level 20 guy. Not a level 40, not a level 80, a level 20 guy. But as long as she's still on the level 10, she's just going to find another level 10. Of course, anything could happen. Hashem could send a regular guy. Sometimes it happens, and then they grow. Beautiful, very nice, but not in the practical world. We can't rely on miracles. I saw from the Lubavitcher Rebbe a quote, we believe in miracles, but we can't rely on miracles. Hashem wants to do a miracle, he'll make a swap that this guy will disappear and Prince Charming will appear without us doing anything. But for us to hope that he's away or get rid of him, it's not going to work. Actually, if Hashem wants to do a miracle, he could take this kid and fix him from his pain and his trauma and his Zerbrochenkeit, and maybe it'll be a good shidduch. Maybe they'll go to therapy together. Now, the next piece is, so what do you do? What you do when somebody is throwing up is you heal them. When they stop throwing up, you know you did a good job. The brothers and sisters want to help her. They have to boost her self-esteem, compliment her. You're so smart, you're so wonderful, you're so pretty, you're so good. He's so lucky to have you. Wow, and boost her self-esteem from the lowness that she is feeling to a normal, healthy self-esteem, and it takes time. You boost it, and it's like it's not real. It's like a hot air balloon that has a hole in it. So you got to make the fire so it goes up in the sky, but as soon as the fire goes off, it's going to plummet because there's a hole. Got to keep boosting and boosting until she can create her own self-esteem over time. When she becomes healthier and creates her own self-esteem, she's going to say goodbye to him. So if they want to be helpful, don't take away the bad job and kill the abuser and all of that stuff. To extricate her, sometimes we have another situation where the girl is really emotionally abducted by an abusive person. It's a different story. We have to use different tactics sometimes when they're mamish kidnapped. But over here, it's not that situation. It's usually not. So what do? Make her healthier. Compliment, spend time with her. The problem is that what boosts somebody's self-esteem is not knocking their spouse as I said, that they feel is a contemporary, and they feel you don't like him, I'm much worse than him. That's why we accept their friends, because they say, oh, you don't like my friends? I'm much worse than my friends. You don't really like me either. Or I'm the same as them. You don't like me. So you can't knock. So actually, what's so twisted is, when you support this relationship of her and him and tell him, you're so lucky to have our sister and as a girlfriend and our daughter, wow, you're so lucky. And she feels, wow, you really fully accept him, who's her connection, means you really accept me. And you tell her, he's so lucky to have you. And you boost up as if this is the greatest thing in the world, even though it's not. This is what's twisted. See, the world is very glatt. People give very straight advice. It's a bad relationship. You have to explain to her that this is not good for her. If that would work, we wouldn't be here, idiots. If that would have worked on her, we tried explaining to her for the last 5 years. You wouldn't be in the TP crisis center. It doesn't work. Explaining doesn't work. Boost. Tell you a true story. All my stories are true. It's a family that came here, and their cousin is now on the group. I'm not going to say the name for privacy, but their cousin can testify to the story. And they came here, and they had a beautiful, beautiful daughter, 5, 9, and they were telling me, and they showed me, look how beautiful she is, and she was hanging out with a guy who was mamish beneath her in every way. And I explained to them, you want to get rid of him? You got to boost her self-esteem. How do you boost her self-esteem? Your friend is my friend. Be makar of them. And they did very difficult stuff. I mean, this is a girl that they threw out of the house before they came to me. They mamish threw out because they caught whatever. I don't want to say too much. And the Belzer Rebbe sent them to me and said, Volk alles was zukt. Ich ken Avi Zayer geht, 2 Zayers. Volk alles was zukt. I know Avi very, very well. Listen to everything he says. And I told them, and they took this couple out in the Borough Park, in the middle of Borough Park. They took the couple, the 4 of them went out. Going out with a daughter and her boyfriend, and this boyfriend, oh, you bet. Very twisted, very difficult. You have to suffer and eat a lot. You know how strong you need to be to say, I'm doing this because I have to save my kid, who is nebuch in Dererd, who's nebuch in the bottom of society, who's nebuch being abused, who's nebuch far, far from being frum, and we had so much work to do. And I just want to tell you, they did the work. Why do we do this? Why? Because I was at the wedding. I was at the wedding just 3 years, from June to June. It was 3 years. And she married in a Chassidish hall. She married a boy, Kadas Moshe Yisrael, L'Shem U'Teferes. Family was overjoyed. I have a picture of her father hugging her by the mitzvah tanz. Usually fathers don't hug so much the Kala. I do, but not everybody does. And he was hugging her because what they went through in those 3 years and the 2 years before, with all the fighting before they came to me, and then the 3 years of connection. And she's married, Baruch Hashem. She's a nachas to the parents. The parents said, out of all of our kids, she cares the most about us. She's always worried about us. And they have so much nachas. They have kids, Baruch Hashem, and they have a family. That's why we do what we do. Embrace her friends or her friend, because if you don't, she will feel rejection. You don't like my taste. You don't like my taste. You don't like my boyfriend. You don't accept me. That's the reality. The people out there, they don't understand the reality. They're busy with logic and talk, and you can't accept, and how could you this and that. And I always say, give that advice, but when you give up, let me try. Acceptance and love. There's nothing stronger than this in the world. Nobody ever came up with anything as strong as this. As it says, Shlomo HaMelech says, we're going to learn this, Ki azo kamoves ahava. Love is as strong as death. And Rabbi Dr. Greenwald, it's brought down in the book, it's not clear if the Stipler said it or he said it, but one of them said it, and he was in communicado with the Stipler, and he was a great man himself. Ki azo kamoves ahava. What does it mean, love is as strong as death? He says, just like nothing could stop death, when it's time to die, nothing could stop that Malach HaMavis. So too, nothing could stop the power of love. Ki aza kamaves ahava. Love is as strong as death. I want to say a little bit deeper. When somebody wants to die, I was on the phone today, I got a call from somebody, a boy I don't even know. He said, I want to kill myself. I'm listening to him cry. Rebbeinu Shalom. Kids who want to die. You know how many kids we had? Hundreds of kids that were suicidal. Bli ein ha, der Eibishter soll weiter helfen for us and for all of Klal Yisrael. We shouldn't have any suicides. Bli ein ha, we never had a suicide. Because when you want to die, ki aza kamavas ahava, the only medicine that is as strong as death. And death is not just when they want to die, like the therapist said. I think he likes himself too much. He's not going to really do it. So he's not 100% suicidal dead. He's 99%. Is he happy? So he just thinks about dying. Is that happy? Whatever shade of suicide they're in. And all of our KiPs have a shade of suicide. Where if you tell them, you know, tomorrow you don't have to wake up, they'll say, what a relief. What a relief. They are not enjoying this ride called life. They'll be so relieved if I don't have to deal with all of this pain, and bad feelings, and all of this different shades of suicide. The only medicine, the only treatment method, the only thing as powerful as feelings of death is ahava's love. When mommy says, I love you, and tati says, I love you. And some fathers are struggling with this. They're sick in the head now, but some of our fathers, sick people, but they can't hug their children. What are you waiting for? You're going to cry one day, they're lying in a box, and you're going to want to hug them, and you can't? Hug your child. Hug your children. It's like, whoa, hug your, like some crazy idea. How sick we are that you don't hug your children. Hug your daughters and hug your sons, mother and father. Ki aza kamavas ahava. It's the only thing that is as strong as death and wanting to die is love. And the best source, the most pure source, the most powerful source of love is coming from mommy and tati. And that's you. That's your job. That's your tafkid. You'll make her stronger, and her siblings are going to say, wow, great, and fun and happiness. She'll boost her self-esteem. She'll choose better people, and he'll realize his place over here in the story is over. It's like chapters. Chapter ends, and then the next chapter opens up. Vayavai. Who'd she meet at the gym? Who'd she meet at work? Who did he meet on the bus? What's going on? New characters come. It's like a show, Broadway show. Curtain comes down. New people leave, new people come in. But as long as mommy and tati and the family are there in every chapter, are there in every part of the show, then you'll be there at the end, that last chapter of this painful saga, when she's walking down the chuppah and mommy and tati are walking her down. And the family is there. The only way to be in that chapter is never allowing anything she does to remove you from the story. Don't pull yourself and allow yourself to be removed from chapters. Don't allow that curtain to come up and you're not part of this play. That's our job, to be there, ki aza kamavas ahava.